Hey guys, and welcome to what even episode are we on? I got more scary stories for you, so let's just get into it. I am so happy and relieved that I received a death threat letter. A couple months ago, I received a life threat letter, and this is what the life threat letter read as followed. I'm going to bring you back to life, where you will be forced to pay for bills constantly. Bills like water bills, electricity bills, energy bills, food bills, rent bills, and bills just to stay alive. I will force you back to life where you will be drowning in debt with bills. As I read that, I couldn't believe that I was dead because only people that are alive receive death threats. And so logically, people that are dead must receive life threats. To be forced back into life where I must do all of the things living people do was nauseating. It made me tremble. Why would this stranger be so cruel to bring me back to life and back into the rat race? Then I received another life threat letter, and it read as followed. I am going to bring you back to life, where you will be forced to get a soulless job that you will hate, where you will work with a terrible manager and with equally depressed but nice coworkers, because they too will be in the same situation as you are. You will get up in the morning feeling like weights are on top of your body. You will be dreading all of the times you are on your days off as you will be constantly worrying about work. The commute to work and back will be just as horrible. I will enjoy bringing you back to life. I started to shout and cry at the thought of being brought back to life. Why would this horrid person do such a thing to me? Why can't he let me rest in peace? Then another life threat letter came to me and it read, I will bring you back to life and you will be among shallow and fake people. You will go to parties that will increase your anxiety, and you will be among people who will force and pressure you to live a certain way of life. They will make you feel horrible about yourself. I couldn't take it anymore. I was trapped. Then at the last minute, this person sent me another letter, which read, Sorry, I accidentally sent you a life threat letter, and it was supposed to be a death threat letter. I'm going to murder you and feed you to the dogs. I was so relieved and happy that instead of this person bringing me back to the rat race of life, he is instead going to help me escape it. 7-year itch. There you are, acting like everything is fine, smiling and laughing and getting attention from everyone, just like you always do. Well, I'm coming for you. You can't treat me this way anymore. I was happy before you, and I'll be happy when you're gone. I'd love her from the moment I met her. I'd loved her from the moment I met her. And she loved me too. I know she did. Everyone knew she did. They all commented on how sweet our bond was. I loved her, protected her, and watched her grow into what she is now, a monster. The first time she hit me in the face, I was startled. There were others around, but nobody seemed to notice. It wasn't too hard, but it still hurt, and she laughed about it. Then it started to become more frequent. She'd yell at me and hit me, and when I'd yell back at her, she'd start to cry, and everyone would take her side and blame me. She'd hit me while I slept or while I ate. In the end, she would openly yell at me and hit me, not caring who was around to see it. Well, no more. We are alone now. She's making her way towards me. I can feel the rage pounding in my chest as she nears. She doesn't know what's about to happen, what she's driven me to. I'm not backing away this time. I move towards her to show her I'm not scared anymore. I think she's realized. BBC News, dog euthanized and couple arrested after 1-year-old mauled to death while parents were in garden with guests. Mushroom cloud. I hadn't seen any harm in it, breaking the little mushrooms from the trees and playing with them. It wasn't as if we were going to eat them, and the kids were having so much fun. Thin black clouds of spore eked out of each toss. Mommy, look, they have ashes inside them, my daughter said. I think it's smoke, said my son. I smiled and picked one up. Do they feel hot, like a fire is burning inside? The children shook their heads. No, I think maybe it isn't smoke or ashes, but spores. It's how mushrooms are spread. I should have considered my own words more carefully. By the time we had gathered up our things from our picnic in the woods and headed home for bath and story time, it was too late for us. The kids woke me up together, standing at the foot of the bed in the darkness. Mommy, we're itchy. I flicked on the light and saw them, skin covered in a layer of tiny blue mushrooms. Then I noticed my own itching skin, blue mushrooms coating it all as well. I put them in the bath, I scrubbed them head to toe. The stems of the mushrooms broke off easily, but left little pricks of blood behind. I left them in front of the TV and began to scrub my own. When I got out of the shower, skin red and bleeding, the living room was empty, and the kids were nowhere to be found. I panicked, calling their names and searching each room in earnest. Then I heard the screams from the neighbors next door. I ran to the sound, finding my daughter collapsed on the ground at the feet of the elderly neighbors, their mouths agape in horror. Mushrooms once again sprouted from their skin, and little black clouds puffed out of her flesh. Then there were more screams, this time from the neighbor across the street. I scooped her limp body up in my arms and ran to find my son. A family of 4 stood around him in the driveway, cautious, afraid to approach, the black dust swirling in the wind. I picked him up too, wincing as large mushrooms tore through my flesh. I had to get them home. We needed a doctor, an ambulance. I needed to visit the family down the road. A cloud of blue erupted in my vision, and soft mushroom flesh filled my ears. I needed to visit the family down the road. I would go there right away. My boyfriend's hands freak me out. My boyfriend has really skinny hands, like weirdly skinny. When he moves his fingers, you can see the tendons working overtime. When he's hot, you can see his veins too, and his knuckles are wider than his fingers. He just has nothing but the bare minimum. It freaks me out. Around 2 weeks ago, it got worse. His veins just wouldn't go down. They're constantly just visible and pumping. He doesn't seem concerned. Around a week and a half ago, they started moving by themselves, just pulsing and bulging, back and forth, back and forth. He blames it on his iron deficiency and his weak heart. A week ago, fingers started swelling. They looked like sausages overfilled and ready to burst. He insists he just needs more salt in his diet. 5 days ago, weird wounds started appearing all along his fingers. They looked like he tore hangnails from his nails all the way down to his knuckles. His palms looked bloody and alive somehow. 4 days ago, they started oozing, foul-smelling pus dripping down his hands. It dripped from everywhere, the open wounds, his nail beds, even dripped from his knuckles. He hit his hand on a doorknob, and I still can't go into that room. The smell is so bad. 3 days ago, these huge pulsating blister things developed. They replaced the wounds, and the pus stopped draining. He insisted that his body was winning whatever it was fighting with, and there's no need to go to the doctor. But I swore I could see something in them, moving. 2 days ago, the blisters burst, one by one. They revealed little holes in his hands. It looked like his hands had been shot, and all that were left were the bullet holes. The smell is worse than ever, and the pus is draining like a leaky faucet. 1 day ago, something began crawling out of the wounds, bloated white worms dragging themselves out of his hands. There were so many, with each being longer and fatter than the last. They had dark points lining them, catching on the holes as they crawled out of him. My boyfriend screamed in agony as they moved, tearing his flesh bit by bit. Today, I woke up with aching hands. Last one was a little bit creepy. I'll see you guys tomorrow.